Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and today looking at a puzzle by Plasmath, who's never featured on the channel before, so it's a debut. The rule set has similarities to a puzzle I thought was absolutely fantastic that Simon did a few days ago was it by Yornus? It was a fantastic puzzle where cage totals had to equal another cage total in the puzzle. Well, this counts those equal cage totals. Anyway, we'll look at the rules in a moment. Don't forget that the first of the month always spells the moment when there's a new Patreon content Sudoku hunt. And February's is by Skunkworks, Duality 3. Fantastic stuff. So we're really keen on that one. And of course on Patreon we've got all sorts of other content like gridogram connections and some cryptic crosswords as well. There will be a new one out soon of those, a listener. Anyway, those are good fun, and we'd recommend you to our Patreon channel. Also, of course, there's all our apps, which do feature killer Sudoku, slightly more normal killer Sudoku. As does the Wall Street Journal. If you happen to get the Wall Street Journal on, I think it's print on Saturdays, you can see the puzzles from Thursday onwards, and there's a couple of Cracking the Cryptic puzzles each week now, so do check that out. Very occasionally you may have seen them on the channel before, but they are brilliant. Anyway, let's have a look at the rules to Counting Cages by Plasmath. And normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits don't repeat in cages. Each cage has a circled digit, indicating how many cages have the same sum as that cage. For example, if a cage sums to 12 and has a circled 5, that cage could, then there are exactly 5 cages in the puzzle which sum to 12. I mean, it's a really simple rule. In a way, it's a surprise not to have seen it before, but it's a great idea. And Plasmath has managed to present a grid with no given digits and a whole bunch of circles. Really, really interesting. I don't know how this is going to play. This was recommended to us by Sam, who's done some good recommendations in the past. And he said it's one of those where I kind of want to find out what I should be thinking, which is a bit frightening because Sam's not a bad solver. Anyway, let's get cracking. I don't know how to start this. What I do, in a counting circles puzzle that's normal, the first move is to count the circles. 8, 9, 10, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 24. Now, what I was thinking when I was reading the rules is, in the example, if a cage sums to 12 and has a circled 5, there are exactly 5 cages in the puzzle which sum to 12. All of those cages would therefore have to have, they'd all have to have a circled 5, wouldn't they? Isn't that effectively the rule? Every cage has got a circle. It would be possible to create a puzzle where there were lots of cages with the same sum, but some of those didn't have the circled digit in them, and that would be confusing. But this puzzle, we are guaranteed that every cage has its circle. So I think in the instance given in the rules, if a cage summed to 12 and had a circled 5, there would be 5 circled 5s. But there could be more circled, well, not in the case of the number 5, there couldn't. Right, how am I going to express that to you? Well, this is like another sort of puzzle that Simon has done a couple of, I think, where the circles are different colours. They count how many of that colour of digit have such a circled digit. Yeah. So what I'm going to say is that in the case given in the rule set where a 5 was circled in a 12 cage somewhere in the puzzle, then there would be 5 circled 5s in the puzzle, but because there can only be 9 5s in the grid, you can't have another set of 5s for a different size of cage. However, you could for a 4. If you had 4 cages that summed to 12 and 4 cages that summed to 9, and all of those cages had a 4 in, all of those 4s could be circled. So annoyingly, I can't just take my sum of 24, which was the sum of all my circled digits, and say that that is, I can divide that 24 up into different digits. Because there could be any number of 1s for unique cage totals, or 2s or 3s. Well, not any number of 3s. They could be up to 4 2s, up to 3 3s, up to 2 4s, but then only 1 5 6 7 8 9. Now, does that mean there needs to be a 5 in a circle somewhere? If you had 2 4s, that's 8. 3 3s is 9. So we're up to 17. 4 2s is 25. We're past 24 already. No, that's no help. Okay, let's have a look at these 1-cell cages. What do they mean? Nothing special, I don't think. Wow, I don't know how to go about this at all. Right, let's look at the central row is proof that there are 5 different digits in this puzzle, and one of them is at least 5. Because there are 5 digits in this row. They all have to be different by Sudoku rules. So there is a 5, at least, or a bigger digit circled in this puzzle. And that must appear 5 times in cages of that circled, of that total. What on earth does that mean? 5 cages that have the same maybe I have to work from the top and go, can I rule out 9? I mean, this is madness in a way. If you had to have a 9, if there were 9 9s circled in this puzzle, I'm going to try it this way. I don't know if this is the right thing to do. There'd be a 9 circled in every column because all the 9s would be circled. So that digit would be a 9. Then there'd be 1 in every row, so that digit would be a 9 as well. That doesn't work then. Okay, so 9 is at least ruled out. Because although you could now have 1 9 in column 5, there'd been, once this is circled, because you need a 9 in row 6, you can't actually circle a digit, a 9 in column 6, because the only one is in the same box. Right, so 9 is ruled out. That's marvellous, isn't it? That was quite difficult to do, so I don't think I'm going to be able to rule out 8. Goodness gracious, I don't know what I should be thinking about this. How could I start to narrow down which 5 cages or more had the same total and therefore the same digit in the circles? could we, I mean, there's a lot of 1 and 2 cell cages and not many others. Maybe we could start to limit. Let's just highlight the bigger cages. So those are the 4 cell cages. These are the 3s. This is a 6. Everything else is 1 or 2. Now, in the 1 and 2 cell cages, obviously in the 1 cell cages, the maximum digit, the maximum sum for the cage is 9. In the 2 cell cages, we could go up to 17, but there's a lot of these, and to have a repeat digit, you've not only got to repeat the digit in the circle, you've got to repeat the complementary digit in the other cell. So let's just highlight all the 2 cell cages circles and then think about those for a moment. Have I got them all there? Might have done. Let's make them red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of these. And in all of these cases, where there are overlaps, where there are, you could only once have a 1 in these cages. And you could only once, well, you could have 2 2s. Could you have more than that? Yes, you actually could. Oh, that's really annoying, sorry. If you say had a 2 and a 6 in 2 cages where the 2 was circled, you could still have a 2 and a 7 in 2 other cages where the 2 was circled. So I can't deem that we must have to have at least a 5 in the reds. Wow, no, I don't know. I don't know how we're meant to conclude on that. Okay, another totally different thought. Can the green be repeated anywhere else? If the green shared a total with a 4-cell pink cage, what would that total be? It would have to be at least 21, because that is the sum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that couldn't share with any 2-cell cage. And these 2 can't share a digit there. So this can't have the same total as that cage, because the digits would be in the same row. It could have the same total as that one, or maybe as a 3-cell cage, but actually there's a reason that won't work, and I think that is, what digit would you put in the circle? Imagine this was 21 and you were sharing, I was going to say you couldn't share a 3 into a cage that had 20. Sorry, you couldn't put a 3 in a circle in a yellow cage that added up to 21. Therefore, if this was 21, oh, I've just had another thought about these 1-cell boxes, cages. This 21 thing's not bad, but it sort of broke down because you could put a 4 there, make this add up to 21, then make this add up to 21 with a 4 there, make this add up to 21 with 4, 9, 8, and this one with 4, 9, 8. This one would be a 4 and some digits adding to 17 here, but only one of them would be unusable. No, so I think annoyingly, you could get a 4 in there in a 21. Okay, what I was going to say about the 1-cell cages is they can only share digits with each other. Right, I think that's right. That's taken me quite a long time to think of, 12 minutes in to think of this. But if you had a 4, say, in a 1-cell cage, it couldn't share that circle digit with a 2-cell cage, because that 2-cell cage would clearly add up to more than 4. So these 1-cell cages are a little subset. There are 5 of them, and the digits in them, the circle digits, add up to 5. And they're not all 1s, because those 2 would be in the same column. It could be a 1 and 4 4s, but that would have to be with a 1 here and 4s in these cells. Or it could be 2 2s and 3 3s. Gosh, that's very weird to think of them as their own little family. I'm going to make them grey. It's either a 1 there and 4 4s, so I can actually take 1 out of these cells and 4 out of that one. Or it's 2 2s and 3 3s in some particular order. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, this is to do with the circles being a member of their cage, which is really important in this puzzle. Okay, this cannot add up to 21 anymore, because those would have to add up to 24. So this cage adds up to, well, once we've taken a 3 out, the absolute minimum, a 3 being the max we could take out there, the absolute minimum then would be 1 2 4 5 6 7. Which feels like 25. Yeah, so 25 is the minimum. Now that could only possibly share a cage total with this one and with this one. These can't add up to 25 using, well, in any way. 987 is not enough. So this also can't have the same total as this, or because those 2 digits would be the same. So the only sharing this can do is with this cage, and this digit is a 1 or a 2. And if it was to add up to 25, the minimum number, so that could be, if it was to share, it's at least 25, that's a 2, that's a 2, and these can only be 986 or 987. It must then add up to 25 or 26. And then we've got a problem. If this adds up to 25 or 26, these 3 cells add up to 20 or 19. And this digit can't be a 1. If that's a 2, this digit has to be a 3. But if that's a 2 and a 3, all the greys are now meant to be 2s and 3s. Oh, do you know what I didn't think of with the greys? Yes, I did not. I thought of only 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. And now it is being forcibly reminded to me that I have to consider 1, 1, 3. No, that would be wrong. I don't, because the 1s couldn't be, you couldn't have 2 1s because it would be a miscount. Okay, good. So I can rule out that this green cage shares the total here, because if that was a 2, this would have to be a 3 to maintain the integrity of the sum of the box. By the way, did I mention that each box has to add up to 45? It's a secret we sometimes share with you, but you know it by now. Yeah, and the problem has now become that to avoid this going above 26, which is what you would need to avoid if you were sticking a 2 down here for 2 cages in the puzzle totaling 26. To avoid this going above that, these have to add to at least 19. That can't be a 1 and must be a 3, and that will stop this being populated by a 2 or a 3. So this can't share a total with anything else, and that digit is a 1, and there's my first digit in the puzzle. Now that's really good, because that eliminates a 1 from this cell. And now we know that there aren't 4 of these greys that are the same. There are 2 of one number and 3 of the other, 2 of the same total number, whatever you want to call it. And this green cage is unique, which is actually not going to help us much, but nonetheless, we've found truth, and we like truths. Okay, having found that this is now a 2-3 pair. Oh, this digit can't be 1, 2, or 3. So this cage total, which is at least 4, 5, 6 plus a 1, that's 16. This has to be shared at least 4 times. Now, if it was only 4, 5, or 6 times that we were sharing this cage total around, with a 4, 5, or 6 in its circle, I don't think that will work, because you can put them in these, but if you're getting up to at least 16, which is what this pink cage adds up to, if you're getting up to at least 16, using the 4, 5, or 6 in the circle won't allow a 2-cell cage to do it, because once you put a 4, 5, or 6 in the circle, you can't get up to 16 in the 2-cell cage. So we do know that this adds up to 16 or more. We do know that this is a 4 or more. Can it be, can it be a 7, 8, or 9 in a 16 sum? No, because if this was a 7, they would be minimum 4, 5. Oh, this is so close. This is absolutely fascinating. Right, if that was a 7 with 4, 5 flanking it, which is the minimum we could get in the row, that's 16. Now the cage total would add up to 17 at least, and you couldn't do that in a 2-cell cage whilst putting a 7 in the circle. So would an 8 here work? No, I don't think, because 8 would be flanked by 4, 5. 17 plus 1 is 18 minimum. You can't do it in the 2-cell cages. I think this has to be a 4 and has to be shared with these other coloured pink and yellow cages, because we're going to get to a total that is in excess of anything with a 4 that the red cages can achieve. So what is the number we're going to get to? I bet we can't tell that. These 4 cages, I mean, let's make them all the same colour, because they're all going to have the same total. Wow, I mean, this puzzle is so absolutely clever. It is the work of a stable genius. And these 4s are all correct. My goodness, this is madness. Right, I can place 4 in box 5. It can't go in the same cage as that 4. And by Sudoku then, it's got to be here. And then, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can say that there's no 4s in the red circles, because I think with a different cage total, you could get 4 of the 2-cell cages to add up to something. So I daren't say that 4 has to be here, which would be quite interesting in its own right. But nonetheless, this is progress. Oh, I've got a better thing in the bottom row. One of these is a 4. So there are 4 red circles in the puzzle. And this one is not one of them, and neither are the pink ones. So in every other box, 4 has to be in a red circle. So that is a 4. And this is a 4. And what other boxes do we know? Oh, one of those 2. Bother. That's it. So we're going to put a 4 in one of those. Right, these digits are going to have to be the same, because they're the complement of 4 in whatever the 2-cell total involving a 4 is. Now this is a different total. That is not a yellow cell. I suppose that's obvious. Anyway, one of these is yellow. Oh, one of those is yellow. I know which one it is. It's that one. So now I can put 4 in there, and that's not 4. Now I can put 4 in here, and this is yellow, being the complement of whatever the total that 4 is achieving in 2 cell cages. And we have filled, we filled 14 of the cells in this puzzle, 14 of the circled 24. So we've got 10 left, and they're all red. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, I wanted to say that we can't use 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's clearly going to be wrong. We can. We can use 2 and 3 again. We can't use 4 again. Oh, this puzzle is crazy. I love it. I love it. It's mad. Oh, can I do yellow as just a bit of Sudoku? There's a yellow in one of those cells. Yeah, one of these is, oh no, yellow could be, it could be one of the, I shouldn't have used red really, should I, for these? In fact, let's leave the red 4s behind and change these other reds to blue. These are light blue is the remaining circles that we have to fill. They're not all the same digit. They add up to 10, and they represent, wow, there's 3 different digits involved. And they add up to 10 because we're going to be populating 10 cells with them. There's at least 3 digits involved. There can't be 4 different digits involved. Is that? Yes, in 2 cell cages, we can no longer have repeats. Sorry, what I mean is we can't have 2 sets of 2 and another 2 sets of 2. Oh no, we could. Oh, but no, row 5 is telling me there are 3 digits involved that are different, that don't include 4, that add up to 10. Oh no, there might be a 4th digit. If we had 2 lots of 2, yeah, I have to be very careful. This could be 1, 2, and 5 with another pair of 2s contributing. Oh, that's crazy. Do I now know that one of these digits is at least 5? Yes, in this row, we must have well, this can't be 1, 2, and 3 in blue because that cell would break. So one of them, which is not a 4, is going up to at least 5. So there is a digit that is at least 5 in the blue cells and is repeating its number in the circles and its cage total in the puzzle. Now, can I limit the count of these blues so that I know where those 5 are? 1 in box 5, 1 in column 5, that's 2. 1 in column 2, that's 3. Then those could all be a bit different. So 6 is actually possible as the big digit, which is annoying. Oh. What's this digit with a 4 in its 2-cell cage? How is that going to be matched anywhere in the puzzle? It is not, because I've got all the 4s, and none of them are the second digit, i.e. the non-circle digit in a 2-cell cage. For this to be a bigger number, its equivalent is, say this was a 3, this wouldn't work. If that was a 3, you could claim that you might have a 3 down here, but the cage would have to add up to 7 like that does. And that's not going to work. This has to be a lone ranger 1. and its cage adds up to 5, and there is only one type of cage adding up to 5 in the puzzle, and it's that one. Right, I'm going to make that grey because it's a weird little 1. I don't know. Anyway, now I'm left with 9 blues, and I can't use 1. Oh, no, I could use 1 again. Oh, that's the freaky aspect of this. I could use 1 again. And now I don't even have the comfort that these 3 blues have to be... Okay, they have to involve 2 different numbers, and those numbers can't be 1 or 4, and they can't be 2 and 3, or that gets broken, these 2 numbers. So one of them still is at least 5. Can I do my thing again? I don't think it's changed. 1 there, 1 there, 1 in that column. But it could still be a 6. For there to be a 6, the complement digits would have to be the same in all cases. That would have to be 1. No, one of those 2. I don't know. Oh, goodness, this is getting crazy. Maybe I can't make progress. Maybe I have to go back to thinking about what the 4 cages add up to. Now, we know this one is 4, 5, 6, 2 at an absolute minimum, 17. So these 2 digits add up to at least 13, as do these, as does this group. But it could be much higher. It could go up to 21, somewhere between 17 and 21. Oh, look, yellow, yellow. That's not allowed to be yellow. 4 can't be yellow because 4 is not yellow. That digit is yellow. So whatever this yellow digit is in that 3-cell cage. And it's one of these 2. Well, it could be there. Or there. It's in this cage. No, it could be 1. I certainly haven't ruled that out. Oh, no, okay, I'm going to rule that out now. Because there is exactly 1 cage in the puzzle which sums to 5. So at least I can rule 1 out of these cells. So in fact, yellow now can't be 1, 2, 3, or 4 in this column. It is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, I'm shaking my head. I don't know how to use that. I've got to go back to thinking about these blue circles. I was going to claim earlier that we can't use 1 in another blue circle. That is not true. We can use 1 in another blue circle if its cage sum is unique. Half an hour in. Oh, I've made some progress though. I don't feel dreadful about that. My goodness though, it's difficult to keep going, isn't it? These 2 are the same digit because they're different from that one. If they were 2s, all of these would be 3s. I don't know what that means. Okay, here's another thought. We worked out that these 2 have to add up to at least 13, because that's the remaining total in this pink. And therefore, at least 13, neither of them can be a 1, 2, or 3. So these are selected from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this yellow cell, which is here, is definitely from 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. I mean, it's not huge information, but look, we are narrowing down where 1 can go in this box now. It's got 2 remaining possible cells. And I thought I was going to do something with the 2, 3 thing. Yeah, this digit obviously can't go here or here in this box. It can't go there because that sees a 2, 3 pair as well. So it must go in one of those cells. And the other one of these goes in one of those 3 as well. I mean, we're beginning to get a glimpse of the Sudoku in the puzzle. Just a tiny glimpse. Now these are going to add to this total of 13, 14, 15, 16 or 17. They probably have to have a low digit, a 1, 2 or 3 to do that. If they were 5, 6 or 7, they would add to 8, 5, 6 and 7, they would add to 18. So there is definitely a low digit in this cage. But I don't think the position of these 2s and 3s looking at the cage is really telling me enough. Oh, well, those 2 are the same, so that digit can't go in those 2 cells. But it could go there. Okay, I don't know how that works. I don't know what to do with that. Let's think about these other circles. I mean, some of them have to be the same as each other. We've got 9 circles left. We could use more ones. Oh no, what we worked out was that in this row, one of them is at least a 5. Now, I mustn't forget that. Let's say it was this one that was at least a 5. This cage would be that total of the at least a 5 2-cell cage. This cage up here in box 2 couldn't be the same because the complement digit would repeat in column 5. This cage couldn't be the same. And this cage couldn't be the same because the complement digits... No, because the circle digits would repeat either in a row or a column. So the only 5 you would have left, the only 5 cages would be there, there. Oh, sorry, I'm meant to be holding them down. There we go. There, there, and one of, not this one anymore, but this one. These would be the 5 instances if that was the cage holding the 5. And it would have to be a 5. You couldn't get a 6. You couldn't get a 6th one. Okay, that's interesting. Now, the alternative is that this is the cage holding the 5 or 6. And I think that's much easier because then it's only this one that's ruled out. You can have 1 in the bottom row. Can you do 6 is the good question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 of the column 2 circles. You can do 6. But this digit, oh, it could be 5. We worked out it could just be 5. Oh, bother. Would it break for the places where 5 would have to go? That would be these 5 cages. So let's just highlight the circles and we'd be literally putting 5 into these places. That would become a 5 by Sudoku, which is quite interesting. This would not be allowed to be a 5, so that would be a 5. Yeah, it would break. Oh, that's pretty complicated though. I don't know, is that a reasonable step? I'm going to explain it to you. So one of these digits we know from the numbers in this row, one of them has to be at least a 5. If it was this one, and I'm going to use the number 5, and as we go along, it'll demonstrate why it can't be a 6. That 5, which has, let's call it an X in this cell, that 5 and X can't be here because X would clash. Can't be here because 5 would clash, or here because 5 would clash. You can only have one of them in this column because otherwise 5 and X would clash, both of them. So that's a maximum of 2. And that allows these 3 remaining cages to be 5 and X, but no more. So that's why I've used 5, because you couldn't go beyond 5 to 6. So this would all happen. And now it's this one that would have to be 5X, because it can't be down here. And now you get a problem in column 7, I think, because I've somehow determined that this digit can't be a 5. Well, by Sudoku, you can't have 5s here, 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 or here. By the stuff we've done, you can't have it there. So this digit would have to be a 5. And I thought this was impossible. And now I'm wondering maybe it's not. I thought I was demonstrating to you why this was impossible. X would be there, wouldn't it, by Sudoku at this point? Yes, no, that would put X here. This is viable. X would be there. And I'm basically bifurcating at this point, so I shouldn't have tried to. Well, I tried to show you what I thought I'd understood, and it turned out I hadn't understood it quite well enough. I thought I could say that couldn't be a 5, but maybe that's a huge misassumption. It's still really interesting that this could be 5, this could be 5 or 6, and one of those cases must be true. For this to be 6, it's there with its complement. It's in one of the column 2 ones and one of the box 5 ones. That's 3 of them. I don't know. I almost think it could be 7. That's madness. I don't think it can be 7. Okay, let's think about the other side of the coin. One of these digits is 5 or 6, and that is going to leave 5 or... No, it's going to leave 4 or 3 blue cells to be filled with other digits. Now, that clearly can't be a single 4. We know that. It could be 3 cells being filled with 3. Or it could be a combination of 2s and 1s. Or 3 3s and a 1. Okay, that's not going to quite do it. Okay, can I limit this cage then? Now, we know the maximum here is 21. If that was a 2, these have a maximum of 15. That's not really limiting enough, is it? Oh, wow. I don't know now. I'm feeling very stuck. I was nearly onto something with these, whichever the big digit is. I want to know what that means. Was there a good reason I thought that couldn't be 5? We were going to have 5s in these cells and there. It was all based on a 5 being here. And then one of these two had to be 5. No, only one position in column 7 could be 5. That's the way to look at it. But then you've got... Oh, have I lost control? So annoying. Sorry. All of these being 5s. Here's why that almost doesn't work. Right, I'm going to try again. For this to be 5 or more, that rules out these 2 cages and, oh no, and this one. Sorry, my plan fell apart there. I was thinking that maybe I could X-wing these 2 digits into those cells, and that got destroyed in a hurry. I must be able to do something about this cage total. That must be it. Or is it the yellow digit? Did I stop focusing on the yellow digit for too long? Yellow's in one of those 3 cells, but yellow is not 1, so it's in one of these 2. Oh, and if it's here, yellow itself would have to be 5. So if this digit was yellow, oh, this is possibly quite interesting. I'm going to try this. If this digit was yellow, it would have to be 5, because yellow is from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this one can't go up to 6. So then we'd be in that position where we'd need, no, this wouldn't work at all. We'd need 5 yellows in circles, but we've already got 5 uncircled yellows in the puzzle. That cannot be yellow. This must be the yellow digit in the middle row. And it's now in one of those 2. And that's interesting from the point of view of it's ended up in one 2-cell cage with a number here. And it's going to end up in another, well, it can't end up there, or these 2 digits would be the same. So this must be yellow. Yellow is not a 4, I do know that. And therefore I can place yellow in row 7, and now I can place it finally in, well, it's here, in box 3. And it appears exactly twice in 2-cell cages, and that is my key. No, it doesn't appear exactly twice because it appears there, but in these blue 2-cell cages that aren't 4 cages, it appears twice, so there must be exactly 2 of them. I don't know what they add up to, but I know that there are 2 of them with yellow as the complement. So now I know that digit is a 3, and that digit is a 3, and one of these 2 is a 3, and that's through 3 grey 3s, so that one's a 2, and now that's a 3, and that's a 2. Oh, come on. That was a big deal. That was a big deal. Now, do some Sudoku on 2s. We've got a 2 right there. We've got a 2 in one of those cells. We've got a 2 definitely here. 1 up there in the corner somewhere. And it's these that can't be a 2, so one of those 2 is a 2. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's positions for 2s. Now, what about 3s? There's no 3 in this box, so in that cage. So 3's in one of those 2 cells in box 7. But it's in one of these 3 in box 9. So we've found it in box 7. Now it's in one of those 2. The key thing here is I think 3 is not potentially ending up in blue circles, because you'd need 3 of them, and all of these cannot be 3s. So there's only 2 left. So 3 is never in a circle, and therefore 3 is in one of those 2 cells. It can't be there by Sudoku. It's in one of those 2. So that's now a 2-3 pair, and this digit becomes 1. That is crazy. I didn't expect that. Now I've got a 3 here, a 3 in one of those, a 3 in one of those, a 3 in one of those, and various positions. No, not very many positions in box 5. It can't be in the circle, so 3 is in one of those 2, and this digit becomes a 2, and that's a 3, and this is a 2, and that's not. Wow. Okay, so now it's just that 3 has put 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, proving its position. Now, this seems to be the only place for 3 in this column. Can't be there or there. Yes. Good. And that 3 has actually ruled out that being a 3. Why did I think this couldn't be a 3? I think I wrote it into the wrong cells there? I don't know. I think I'm left with this X-wing on 3s that I can't resolve. But that's fine. I also know that this cage now, this cage has got a 2 and a 4. So the maximum total is, that doesn't really matter because the maximum total is 17. I don't know that that cage is still being very helpful, but we've got all sorts of 2s, 3s and 4s. And I found a little bit about 1s. That's a 1 by Sudoku. Oh, this is in a blue cage. How many times can 1 be the complement digit in a blue cage? Of the ones I'm highlighting, it's already happened twice in boxes 6 and 9. And of the ones I'm highlighting, several. Oh, look, this digit is the big one. We've had 1, 4, 2, 3 here. This one is at least 5. It's 5 or 6. Could it even be 7? No, it can't be 7 because there's 7 left. Oh, I should colour those as a different colour, a new colour. Not violet, too similar. Orange. I mean, I should start to think about cage totals at some point, but I'm not doing it yet. Now, this digit can't be 7 because we've got 7 blues left and 2 of them are in the same column. So this is 5 or 6. It has to be at least 5 in this row. This is 5 or 6 and repeats a lot and always has a 1 in its cage as the complement. Yes, this is key. So, which ones of these can have a 1 in their cage as a complement? That one can. So we've got 1, 2 done already, 3, 4, 5, and one of the ones in column 2. It could be 6. That's really annoying. Okay, but at least we know that of the options, we've got to get at least 3 more 1s into these cells I've just highlighted. Only one of them in column 3, obviously. Ooh, could I rule out this digit being a 1? Oh, what's going to be left after the 5 5s or the 6 6s? It's going to be 1 1 or a 2, or it can't be 2 2s, surely, because one of them would go into this cage, into this column. It could be 2 1s, a pair of 2s, or 1 1. But it can't be a pair of 2s because one of them would have to go into this column and you can't have a 2 in the column. That's right. So only 5 or 6, whichever this repeated digit is, or 1 can go in these remaining circles. Now, we could have 2 1s if they have unique cage totals. I have to keep bearing that in mind. But that can't be a 1, so that must be a 5 or a 6 in the circle. One of these is a 1, and the other one has to be a 5 or a 6. And that's 4 of the 5 or 6s accounted for. Up here, I don't know whether these are 1s or 5s or 6s. What I do know is that at least one of them is the 5 or 6 digit. That's what I know. And the 5 or 6 digit always has a 1 in its circle, so that digit is a 1. And one of these two is a 1. Oh, that's really important. That's so weird. Right. How many 5s or 6s have I got? 3 there, maximum 1 here. At least one of these has to be the 5 or 6 digit. And that has to have a 1 in one of these cells. Now, if one of these cells has to be a 1, neither of these cells can be a 1 because they both see them both. So those are definitely from the 5, 6 item. And that is 5 of them. And there must be another one in this column. So the number itself is 6 now. That is fantastic. This puzzle is absolute joy and genius. So the 6 always needs a 1 in its cage. So one of these digits is a 1. And there's always a 1 in these cages. They're either 1 and its number or 6 and 1. Actually, I can take 5 out of those. This is a 1, 6 pair. The puzzle is going crazy. Now, one of those is a 6. This number is a 6. That's just the only place it can go in the box. Yellow is obviously not a 6 now. I can gradually see. I might be finished within an hour. That would be an extraordinarily good performance, I think. This puzzle's crazy. Oh, we've got 2 up there. That's done. Haven't done these 3s. I just need to remember to do Sudoku occasionally. I know you're shouting at the screen that that's what I need to remember. Now, where is 6 in this box? It can't be in those cells, so it is definitely in this cage. Now, we cannot have a cage that had 1 in the circle and 6 in the cage, because that would be claiming that there was 1 cell that added to 7. One cage that added to 7. We can see there's loads. So since 6 has to be in this cage, it must be in the circle there. That's a 1. This is a 1. That's not. Now, have I got all my 1s done? Yeah, they're all done. How about 6s? Must be able to finish those if they're not already. Ooh. Do you know what? I can't. There's a 6 in one of those cells and in one of those cells. Now, 3s I've failed to finish off up here as well. But now maybe. So I found my 7 cages. 6 cages that add up to 7. Obviously those are those 6 cages. I should colour them all blue, why not? And then this one is a new colour. Let's make that a violet. My violent violet colour. This is going to have to be a unique sum, so that can't be a 6, right? So that is a 6, and that's a 6, and that finishes off 6s. Now, this cage doesn't have a 6 in. And now I know this can't be a 5, because for this cage to add to 15, that would have to be a 5, 6 pair. That's no longer possible. So yellow is not a 5. These 2 add to the same as those 2. Well, it can't be 13 anymore, because these, oh yes, it could. If that was a 7, this would be a 5, 8 pair. If that's an 8, this is a 5, 9 pair. If that's a 9, this is a 7, 8 pair. Bother. Okay, I keep threatening to go back to these pink ones as well, just in case that helps. The trouble is, I don't know. I know the cage adds up to 17, 18, or 19. So these 2, oh, they add up to 10, 11, or 12. They can't add up to 10 or 11 because of what's left. We're only left with 5, 7, 8, 9. So that's a 5, 7 pair. 19 is the total. Yellow has become a 9. So that cage can add up to 19. This pair is a 7, 8 pair. And these 2 have to add up to 13. And they're 8, 5 in that box. Wow. So this is a 7. We've got a unique 8 cage. That is the only one. This digit is a 5. I've got a 7, 8 pair here. Oh, goodness. I can do a bit of Sudoku now. 3 and 5. This one can't be 5. In fact, we've got a 5, 7 pair. So I can write in 3, 8, 3. What's this? 5. That's a 7. This is 8 to complete the box. Now I've got 5 and 7 there. This is 8. That's 5. That's 8.
This is a 5-7 pair. This is a 5-8 pair though. So that digit is 7. That's going to look up to the top and do 8-7. That's going to look back to the bottom and do 5-8. This digit is a 5. That gives us 7-5 over here. That gives us 8-7 down here. Just the 3 central columns left. 7 and 5 there are resolved. This digit is 8. This one's 7. That one's also 7. Now, let's just think about the cages. So what we've claimed is there is a unique 8 cage, a unique 5 cage, and a unique, what is this? I can't even do it. 29 cage? No. 30. That is a 30 cage. And those are all unique. Then with 2 in a circle, we've got 2 11 cages and 2 2 cages. We've got 3 3 cages, and 3 never appears in a circle again. With the 4s, we've got 4 13 cages, and then 4 of these 19 cages, and that all seems to be working. And then we know we've got 6 7 cages, so it's all good. I can fill in 8 and 5, and that is the solution. What an insane puzzle. No wonder Sam wanted to see how to go about it, because that isn't easy, and it's very, very clever and great fun. Oh, wow. Thank you for watching. Just got done in under an hour. The video will be over an hour now, but there we go. Hope to see you again tomorrow. What a puzzle. Bye for now.